Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to Now Streaming Show, your one-stop shop for all the latest sports news updates and more on the and sport news and latest news from the happenings in Nigeria. And you can have more on this terrain. I'm your anchor this morning, Chukwibukaike, and we're reaching you live from ACNNTV from the capital city of Abuja. Get ready for a packed show as we dive into the latest developments, starting from reverse crisis, the looming ASU strike, and the thrilling world of sports from the Euros 2024 tournaments to Premier League's first futures. We've got you covered. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. All right, joining me in the studio this morning is Mr. Raphael Oja Okomo. Mr. Raphael is a social and sports commentator. Welcome, Mr. Raphael.
Thank you very much for having me again.
All right, so joining us virtually from Delta State is Comrade Abraham Soko. Comrade Abraham Soko is a political and sports analyst. Good morning, Mr. Comrade. Also joining us virtually from Abuja is Mr. Samuel Ahmadu, and he's also a sports analyst and the secretary of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, SWAN SCT chapter. All right, welcome to you, gentlemen, on virtually. Viewers, remember you can join this conversation by calling the numbers now showing on your screen or sending your comment via our various social media platforms. Still with me in the studio is Mr. Raphael Jaokomo. He is a social and sports commentator. And joining us virtually today from Delta State is Comrade Abraham Soko, a political and sport analyst, and also Mr. Samuel Ahmadu. He also a sports analyst and the secretary of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, FCT chapter. Welcome again once more, my best or the favorite person on the show this morning, Mr. Raphael, and gentlemen online. You're also welcome. All right, now let's get back to the action. We've got the latest transfer gist this morning to talk about, and then we'll talk about Nigerians' preparation on the 2024 Paris Olympics and more. Stay with us; it's about to get interesting. But let's start with the Punch Sports Extra news. Paper, and the little story there says movers and shakers. The pictures there are the pictures of Osime, Mwabali, and the others. All right, so below that it says how Nigerian stars are faring in transfer market. All right, so they said that story on page 7 of Punch Sports Extra paper. All right, so above that we have no more, no less. Arsenal won't pay more than 75 million euros for Osime. All right, so said the details on page 6, and page 6 also has a story on Chelsea have genuine interest in Omorodion. All right, so then page 3 has Musiala shines as Germany reaches last 16 at the Euros. Holders Italy, Spain clash for knockout spots. That's on page 3. And Portugal players don't trust CR7. Find out the reason why on page 3 of when you pick up a copy of Punch Sports Extra. Right beside the masthead, it says Denmark versus England. Can Lions survive Dane pain? All right, I remember that England has a player on injury. Then page 4 has a United Eyes Simons as Rashford alternative. Page 6 also has the story on the Trabasol's dream on Onuacho and Wakaneme combo. Alright, page 5 Arsenal to promote Waneri. And then page 6 also has Okereke sets for ceremonious return. So below there we have EPL Cooper top contenders for 4-6 job, and page 7 has ring return trees WBC champion Shoba, and finally page 7 has Nigerian Premier Professional Football League Duma doomed after sunshines defeat. Then we also have more stories on the baseball legend Will Mays dies at 93. Then Manchester United Kobe Mainoo reveals the real reason he snubbed Ghana for Europe 2024 England. All right, so back here in the studio, I still have Mr. Raphael, I still have Comrade Abraham, and I also have Mr. Samuel. So, gentlemen, before we discuss this stories before we talk about these sports stories. I want to remind our viewers that please you can join this conversation by calling on the numbers now shown on your screen or by sending your comment via our various social media handle. So on a joyful note, Mr. Raphael, our Flamingos have qualified for the World Women World Under 17 World Cup 2024 in Dominican Republic. So, what do you think about this? Comparing that our Super Eagles are also trying to qualify for the World Cup, well, ahead of the Super Eagles, the Flamingos, the under 17 Flamingos has qualified for the Women's World Cup.
I think this year is the year for the women. This year is the year for the women because the Falcons qualified for the Olympics. I think this year is the year for the women because the Falcons qualified for the Olympics. The under 20 girls qualified for the World Cup, and now the under 17. Unlike the male counterparts, where both under 17 and under 20 didn't qualify, and the Super Eagles is struggling at the moment. The girls are good, and they are gearing up for another year again. Remember the last time they were at the World Cup, they came back home with the bronze medal, beating Germany on penalties, if I'm not mistaken. So now they are going back again. Who knows if we are going there to better our former. Of course, when you go for a tournament, you go there to outperform yourself. What was the last stage? It was a third place, and now they'll be looking at going one better. And in this stage, there is no what's it called powerhouse, unlike what you have in the senior cadre, where you see the likes of Germany, USA, Japan, and the likes are the powerhouses. And right now, you don't even play football with names anymore. Because if you check the last time, we were told Nigeria will not qualify from the group for the Falcons, and we went all the way, and it took penalty shootout for the Three Lions ladies to knock out the Super Falcons. I believe the Flamingos will do well. They went through the qualifiers with ease without any struggle.
Yeah, they did. They felt with
Yeah,
especially the last
the last
qualifying match
qualifier,
against
yeah.
Liberia.
I just
They,
pray that the FA will do the right thing for them to be able to prepare well and not the usual fire brigade approach towards
yeah.
tournaments.
All right, thank you. Comrade, do you think Flamingos will bring back the trophy at the end of this competition?
Thank you very much. I believe that they are going to perform very, very well because if you look at the qualifying matches they played, one that they books their place, they won by an average score of 6-1. Their previous match against Central Republic, they won that match by 12-0. So I actually think that they are going to perform very, very well. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Samuel. Just speaking to one of the players, the Flamingos, after the last match at the Moshood Abiola Stadium, where they won their match against Liberia. Speaking to the top striker, that's Chidi Harmony, after the match, she said she's promising Nigerian citizens that she's bringing back bringing home the trophy and also bringing home the award for the top goal scorer. Do you see the same vision with her at the end of this tournament?
Yes, at the youth level, with the quality of talents we do possess. And I think Chidi, Harmony Chidi, and also the likes of Peace Effiong, and quite a number of them in the attacking line have been very impressive. And I think it's just stems from the fact that we have great potentials in our domestic league. I'm not speaking because I'm also overseeing the media activities of the Nigeria Women's Football League, but on the strength that, yes, we have seen the league produce great stars from generations dating back to the 90s, and the league has not stopped producing a lot of talents. Times and times again, we've seen growth of growing numbers of women playing football. Even so many are excited with the breakthrough of quite a number of talent like Aziz Shuala, Rashida Jibade, and a number of them who has really done great, achieving success in their various clubs. So I think it's not a surprise that we see this is a major motivation for some of these young girls that yes, they want to make it big and they want to make it out early. We saw the likes of the person of not Chinwendu Ihezu. She was the last person who really went all the way to getting on the top scorer list at the World Cup back in 2012. And I think if you do remember very much where she finished runner up in that top scorer list. That's in that edition of the tournament. Even though we didn't go past the quarterfinals, but I think managing to achieve such a feat shows that we have great talent. And you see, the Chiwendu now is back in the team and was instrumental in the country qualifying for the Olympics, beating South Africa. So I think we have those great talents. We only need, we hope we can get time. We also do more scouting to see great talents that also abound in the league to ensure that, yes, we have our best talents featuring at the World Cup. And for me, I think Chidi Harmony is one of the top talents we have at the youth level. I've seen her feature in various youth tournaments, and she's been incredibly a wonderful talent. And hopefully, I think she can get the quality games, get the right exposure before the tournaments, and continue to improve, especially on her finishing, and also improve in her quality, and also improve on the teamwork with the team. So because we have great talent in this team, and these are a bunch of new players playing with this team, and for the team to have achieved a bronze title, which was a record, the first time ever we make a podium finish at the Under-17 World Cup. Definitely taking it a notch higher will be what will matter for the team and also Coach Bankole Olokere. So I think we have the potentials. We only need to look around, even though I think the team needs a lot of improvements. We are probably didn't face the toughest of teams at this level, except for the Liberian that were a bit technical and also very, very solid too. But looking at how we manage the game between the two legs, I think it's impressive that yes, we've managed to get the result. But looking on the big stage, we definitely need much more than just individual talents.
All right, so looking at, just like you said, looking at the big stage, you will need more than individual talent. What do you think the coach should do or is doing that he needs to do more to help these young stars harness their talents and discover themselves more?
Yeah, for me, I think it's a lot. Looking at the timing they have in camp and what have you, it's not easy, working with some of these young talents,
Right.
especially understanding where they're coming from. They already have a premeditated style of football, and the mentality too is there. And so it will take time to be able to implement some of the individual coaching trainings that you need to implement direction of play, and they even sticking to it in that short period of time. It's a lot, just as we also have the same complaint with the men's team, but it's even more with the women, because time for a woman, you could coach the women's team for months, and it seems like you're not doing anything. Why? Because the players haven't grabbed the message you're passing to them, and when you don't have that smartest way of trying to pass that message in the quickest of time, you could have a challenge really making an impression at the big stage. So I think it's important that the coach work at looking at how best to get the right players that will possibly complement the team in various positions, and ensure that yes, they would grab some of the training and also continue in that light of how they were impressive at the national team with their various clubs, because thankfully we'll be having a majority of them playing in the championship in the coming weeks. So it's also a very good opportunity for these players to have match time and also gain quality fitness ahead of the World Cup.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Back here in the studio, Mr. Raphael. You see, over the time, it looks like it's more easier for our female side of the football team to qualify for major tournaments compared to our male football side. So, what do you think is the problem? Is there something we're missing out, or what? Just let us know your view about
I don't
the women
think-
doing better than the men.
No. They don't play the same cadre or level of football.
Mhm.
Do you understand? Even though, like I rightfully said earlier, that football is not about name anymore. It's about what you can prove on the field of play. And if you check the other teams that qualified for this tournament, still, I think the other team that qualified is Kenya. if I'm not mistaken. I've forgotten the other team. And then you'll be asking yourself, where's Ghana? Where is South Africa? Do you understand? So it tells you that football has grown beyond just names. And these girls, we have a very, very like
Somewhere.
Sam said, we have a good league that churns out these girls year in, year out. And if you go out, I don't know about other states, if you go out in Lagos, if you go out in Abuja, I grew up in Lagos, Ajegunle to be precise. If you go to where they call Maracana in Ajegunle, or maybe Adidas pitch in Lagos there, you find ladies playing football while the guys are also playing football on the streets. Same way in Abuja, you go to some parks where they are playing football on Saturdays there, but you find ladies also playing. So we have these materials readily available. But he mentioned that I don't know if I heard him well, that they take time to assimilate when the coaches are working with them. I don't know how true that is, but I believe that when you get these people together, they are raw in their own states, but when you get them together for a period to work together, I think they'll churn out good results. You know, unlike where we're complaining about the Super Eagles, even the men, they came to camp how many days? Was it not 1 week to whatever? And
Less than 1 week.
less than a week or thereabout, and we still didn't get anything. So everything that we do boils down to preparation.
Yeah.
How prepared are you for? In fact, how much do you want that which you're going for? That will tell you how much you need to prepare for that tournament. And like I said earlier, we have these materials readily available. They are good. It's not like they are better than the men. Like I said, you can't put them side by side. You get me? But we have the league that is working, and we have the talents. It's just the manager or the management now to put them together. They've qualified. What next after qualification? Are we just going to go there and answer Nigeria, or want to go there and surpass the last edition where we came third?
All right, so thank you. I hope that this doesn't blow their head. So they are still young and they won't know how to tame all this. But God helping us, we look out for a better performance. All right, Comrade Soko, just a follow up on this. The Olympics, the 2024 Paris Olympics is just around the corner, and I want to know your analysis on Nigerians' preparation thus far for the Paris Olympics.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. So far, I have been very, very impressed by our basketball team. They started camping early. They had a camp in Abuja for a while before they flew to Paris. I think that they're in Paris now. So our Tigress, the Tigress, they have really performed very, very well. So I am praying that this translates to a very good performance in the Olympics. I was a bit disappointed by our boxing team. They were unable to qualify for the tournament, having performed very, very well in the just concluded All African Games in I think in Ghana. So it's a mixed feeling for me. So the participants we have that are going for the Olympics, from what I have seen, from what I have heard, from the reports I've read, they have been preparing very well for the Olympics. So I just hope this translates to a very, very good performance. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, so in line with that, we also are aware that the Athletics Federation of Nigeria has a trial section currently ongoing in those states. I don't know if you have details concerning that ongoing event right away.
No, I don't have details on that. But I must say that that is a good one, because it is at this stage that we tend to build these raw talents. I think our sports team in general needs to start from the scratch. We need, as Mr. Raphael said, we have these talents everywhere in the country. All we need is providing infrastructures and providing the development. So if this athletic championship, as I have stated, is going on in Edo, I think it's a good one. And I think the government and the organized private sector needs to really invest in our sports. Thank you, Mr. Ebuka.
All right, thank you. So up to with you now, Mr. Samuel. All right, so a whole lot of Nigerians will be out to follow through with the FIFA, with the Paris 2024 Olympics. You, as the secretary of the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria FCT chapter, what preparations are on ground to bring first-hand information on the ongoings in Paris?
Speaking for the Sports Association, I think it's really a tough time. We found ourselves while everybody's crying over a rough economy and resources, but realistically, we're also trying to dot the I across the T's, ensuring that we have quite a number of our journalists, just like we had during the Commonwealth Games in the UK in Birmingham. You know, quite a number of journalists were present there. We also hope to have even much more in Paris. And by His grace, we're working closely with various relevant, working closely with relevant bodies, including the French embassy, to ensure that we can, besides ensuring our colleagues get necessary travel entry visas to Paris, which we know that getting visas, it's always a hassle, especially to Schengen countries. But again, we are working around the clock to ensure, yes, we get quite a number of our colleagues to travel, at least getting traveling documents to Paris, and at the same time, also relating with relevant government heads and parastatals to ensure that, yes, and also the national body of the Sport Writers Association of Nigeria to ensure we have a number of journalists. Like you saw at the African Games, quite a number of contents were pushed out, even though it was seriously an expensive journey for anyone to travel to Ghana, and also understanding the quality of life and also expenses surviving in Ghana and working and living in Ghana. So I think Paris definitely will be a different story. We hope, and we hope to really work things out and ensure that, yes, we have quality reportage, just as we had, much more than what we had in African Games at the Paris Olympic.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your analysis on the show. Please, let's remind you viewers that you can join this conversation by calling the numbers now showing on your screen, and equally by sending your comments via our various social media handles. All right, so there's been a saga ongoing for the past few days after Nigerian had failed to win their last two World Cup qualifier match against South Africa and the Benin Republic, and now we have issues with Finidi, I think, trying to defend his job, and then online issues with Osime coming up to blast the coach, trying to use him to salvage his wrongs actions and wrongs doing. All right, so we've had a whole lot of stories, and we have had a whole lot of we have seen a whole lot of things on social media. But now this morning we want to know the full details of the saga between Finidi George and the starman Victor Osime, and also to inform you in case you don't know, that just after a few days ago that Finidi tendered his resignation for the position as the coach of the Super Eagles. So please let me start from Mr. Samuel. Mr. Samuel, please, can you give us or lighten us a little bit on this Finidi George and Osime saga?
Well, for me, I think it's unfortunate that we've come to this situation, you know, and realistically, some of these things are potentially being played up by the media. But regardless, I think these are two mature human beings who definitely also should know how best to manage their emotions and also know how best to interrelate, knowing that life is also much more than the game. And especially recalling the fact that as a Nigerian, we're also trained to be respectful and show some sense of decorum and regard for leadership, and also for role models in the sport, not just in the sport, but also in our daily lives. So, but again, I think relating to the matter between Osime and Finidi, I think this has been long resolved, especially following the outburst of Osimhen. I'm pretty much aware that Finidi himself has reached out to Osimhen to clarify things. Unfortunately, we have not heard from Osimhen since then over a potential resolution or an apology being issued. Understanding that his reaction was even beyond Finidi George. His outburst was almost against Nigerians and almost everyone around the football, which for me was quite needless and was out of mark to have stooped so low from such a high position to have turned out in such a very despicable manner. I think it was uncalled for. It was not something necessary from a character like him, especially understanding how important and also how highly placed he has found himself. Not ignoring the fact that he's the reigning African Player of the Year, and surely matters like this has drawn various eyeballs across the country, across the continent, and also beyond, world over. And for me, realistically, I've granted interview to more than 5 different South African platforms, not even talking about other African platforms, regarding this Osimhen's issue. Why? Because knowing the status Osimhen has earned already on the continent and beyond, he can't afford to act in manners like this. So, but I'm fully aware that Finidi has reached out. But for me, I think it was poorly managed. From what said go, matters and clarification one has gotten, especially for some of us who are also at the who also witnessed the post conversations of the meeting between the minister and the NFF. I think that's last week. We're also fully aware that a conversation like that never came up, even though the media intentionally for clickbait blew things out of proportion, attributing almost every blame to Osimhen, which was practically not true. And these were unfortunate clarifications that were not rightfully gathered. And also, Osimhen also never took a chance to hear out his own coach. A coach you really think you have respect for, and which somewhat discredits every chance of him even having any out of respect for him in the first place. Who you have respect for, you reach out to them. You seek clarifications before you react. And I think this was some of the breakdown of understanding our relations that were poorly managed and that snowballed into this heated media drama, which for me I think was unfortunate and definitely shouldn't even have happened in the first place. So I think I'm aware this Finidi George has reached out to him. I'm fully aware, but unfortunately, we've not heard from the side of Osimhen, even though in the follow-up, he has gone ahead to act in a very despicable manner again, even sharing some of these exclusive contents to individuals like a very dark man, which for me, I think was speaks to the fact that there was no out of respect. You have control over some of this content, which then shouldn't have even gone to any other third party. If you were keen about managing this crisis. So I think it's sad that this is happening in a time like this, and this is where I think we also need to put in place quality management. And I think this also, I think in the past has happened, which had even called for a code of conduct. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this came up, I think, under the previous administration of the Nigerian Football Federation, but I don't know where that code of conduct has been kept. This should be enshrined. Discipline should be the forte, and I think these were part of the issues that snowballed into the resignation of Finidi George, because he doesn't feel he had control over the team. Why? Because there are a lot of interests behind the team who are also influencing the indiscipline of some of these players. And you can't ignore that fact, seeing how players were strolling into camp just 2 days to the game and they want to play, knowing that they were even coming from a holiday, on a lot of them unfit and very indisciplined and very unready to even give their best. You look at the game against Benin, even when we're looking at the improved performance, we had the quality performance in the opening game, and all of a sudden we felt like a pile of cards. And I think when you look at how poorly we turned out in the remaining parts of that first half and also the second half, we seem not to have the fitness, we seem not to have the quality to even match the Benin Republic. They were even the one dictating the play. So this will tell you a lot about the readiness of the players. It wasn't going to be down to the coaching tactics. The players were obviously not ready to play. And when you don't have the control of these players, you definitely cannot get the best of them. And I think it was just very smart and also very proper for Finidi George to have turn in the towel, because we always create so many stories about the like, who likes Finidi, who doesn't like Finidi. But Finidi has paid his due. We can't take anything away from him. Not even Osimhen can lace the boot of Finidi at this stage in time. So we have to give respect to whom respect is due, and be able to show that yes, we understand the polity, and those who are also keen to set things ablaze. It's unfortunate we're having some of this conversation around the national team, especially the Super Eagles, when we should even be looking at how to build on the successes of reaching the finals of the African Cup of Nations. But it is what it is. When we poorly manage the situation around our national team, we'll always have challenges making progress, and also managing the successes that we would have achieved. So I think it's a sad situation we find ourselves, and I believe, regardless of whatever happens, we will always have a hassle trying to find our way through this, and also trying to find a breakthrough. And this is a major reason why qualifying for the World Cup would be a major hassle, would be a major challenge, because we have much more bigger problem behind the scene than what is even happening on the pitch of play.
All right, so thank you so much, sir. So at this point, are you saying we should throw away the allegation that coming from Osimhen, in that, and also the comments from Finidi that Osimhen is selective of matches that he will play for the national team?
Yeah, to set record plays and set records straight. And from what I was saying earlier, I said the statement was never existed. The statement never existed. A statement never existed. And what was clear to us, especially for some of us that were also at the National Stadium after the meeting with the minister, which Finidi was involved, and you see video around. I was also filmed in the video after the meeting, passing by Finidi George. What we're fully aware of, he was talking, which was very clear. There was no argument about it. That some players displayed the love in discipline, and he had no reason to begin to beg anyone to play for Nigeria. That was a blanket statement and was never attributed to any individual in the team. Unfortunately, individuals that were keen to also create a lot of feuds, create a lot of hearsay, were smart enough to latch on this and create stories attaching to Finidi, because they were also keen to ensure they gained some views, and obviously they achieved whatever they needed to achieve. And unfortunate for a player like of Osimhen, who never in any way second guess or try to even make verifications, obviously he must have had premeditated thoughts against the coach to have also jumped into conclusion by taking to a live Instagram post to vent his anger, which for me could have possibly managed better. But unfortunately, the whole reaction has also been more of a negative on Osimhen than Finidi George. We've moved away from talking negative about Finidi George, but the conversation has moved to Osimhen. And disappointingly, this is already even working against Osimhen in getting a quality contract or a quality destination for him, because any club who will be keen on engaging Osimhen will always be careful. Why? Because Osimhen seems to have had a history of indiscipline, history of rudeness. It's also not. It's also on social media that Osimhen too was sent off training when he misbehaved. He acted rudely to the coach of the team. The whole videos on the social media. So these are things. These are history that this for me. This was a outburst that was untimely, was needless, and for me was misdirected.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Comrade, I want to start by saying that I want to ask you a question, but I want to start by saying that there is no fire, there's no smoke without fire, and also that a pride goes before a fall. So, do you think this action from Osimhen is going to affect his career? And do you also think that he acted without verification, because he must have heard this thing from somewhere? He can't just make it up by himself. He must have heard either from, if not from the meeting with the Minister of Sports and the NFF, probably from somewhere. So, do you think his action will affect his career as the reigning African player or footballer of the Comrade Soko, please?
Yeah, it may not necessarily affect his career, but club sides will be cautious in negotiating with him, in picking with him, in giving him a new contract. A lot of clubs will be cautious as a result of this whole controversy. we need to understand, as Mr. Samuel said, we need to understand that the genesis of this started with when Finidi George was summoned to give an explanation for the woeful performance of the Super Eagles in our qualifiers. And he came there, and instead of saying, okay, this is my fault as the technical, as the manager, I accept all blame, he threw his players under the bus. He said that it was as a result of, according to the reports, he said it was as a result of indiscipline of players and players being supported by big men. I really don't understand these kind of statements coming from the manager of a team. You're in charge of these boys. There's nothing stopping you from saying that these boys should arrive 2 weeks before the World Cup qualifiers. If we had arrived on time, these old shambles of players coming 3 days before the qualifiers would have not been there. So we had ample time to prepare for these qualifiers. Having said that, I need us to understand that Osimhen was way out of order, because in the first place, Finidi George did not actually call his name. He did not refer to him. So why was he so defensive? He could have been referring to other players. He's not the only big player in the team. So I think Osimhen was way out of order. And as Mr. Raphael has said, the conversation has moved past Finidi George right now. It has now moved from Finidi George and his woeful performance, and it has transcended to Victor Osimhen. And this was not really portraying in a very good light. I'm sorry to say. Thank you.
All right, so back to you here, Mr. Raphael, in the studio. All right, you remember the case? I think this same issue happened with Yakubu Ayegbemi?
Yakubu, Celestin Babayaro,
exactly. So, and a whole lot of things played on afterwards. We had a case where Yakubu didn't feature much in the team anymore. And also, I just wanted to make a comment in line with that, and also want to find out from you, was Finidi too fast? Was it too quick to throw in the towel?
First and foremost, if you ask me to be very honest with you, the question I want to ask, or I would have preferred you to ask, is: was he the most qualified? No, it's the truth.
Let's put that aside now. He was appointed, so whether he's not the most qualified or not, he had been appointed.
Let me be honest with you. There are some jobs that when they offer you, you ask yourself if you are really capable of handling this job. There's no such thing as I think I can do it. There's no such thing as I think I can do it, because it's not a job that allows you. What am I saying? We watch the leagues day in, day out. They play 38 games. They have the opportunity of trying back and forth, but country football doesn't afford you that luxury. You go, except you're playing friendly games. You're playing friendly games, fine and good, but we're talking about qualifiers, and we were not at the last World Cup. And we know how Nigerians feel when we don't qualify. You know, people come and say, like the captain came and was spewing only God knows what, saying because you're Nigeria doesn't mean you win every game. Then why did you go into the pitch to play in the first place? Everybody goes into the pitch to play. Albania lost to Croatia. I know they drew with Croatia yesterday, but Albania scored first.
Yeah.
You and I, if we put Albania and Croatia on par, even on the FIFA ranking, they are nowhere close to each other. When Albania played Italy, who scored first? Albania scored in the 22nd in under 1 minute. They had that belief that they could beat Italy in that game. In 2004, Greece came to the Euro to win it, and nobody even marked them as one of the favorites. So when you go into a tournament, you want to play to win. So the whole idea of Ndidi coming out to say we must not win because you are a Nigerian, and then Finidi George coming to take the job, should have asked himself, am I sure I can handle this?
Qualified.
The reason why it's very fast for him to let go of the job is because he cannot handle the pressure. It was easier when he was behind Pesero, and Pesero was taking all the backlash. It wasn't coming to him directly, but now he's receiving all the backlash from all corners. And you also said rightfully, there is no smoke without fire. People will not start giving you such attitude if there's nothing on the back. I do not support, let it be on record that I do not support Osimhen's behavior. Like Mr. Sam said, he was privy to the interview that was given. where Finidi said, I cannot beg any player to play for the country. Any player can be anybody. And some of this media, and also I also put this up with Mr. Sam, that they need to also do well. Most of this media, sports writers and the likes, need to really do well, because that is somebody clickbaiting Osimhen, and Osimhen fell for it. And yes, it might not affect his career, it might affect his career, but that's somebody's career that somebody joked with. And Osimhen, for lack of self-control, didn't even thought to ask, to say, coach, did you say this thing? Coach, I thought we had a discussion. I even promised to be in camp just to give them moral support.
But Finidi turned that down.
I want to believe that it was under some influence, even though that's not an excuse. They say out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So there are a lot of things that he has kept inside, maybe looking for the opportunity to bring them out. And that was like the best opportunity. And like Mr. Sam said, nobody's even talking about Finidi anymore. It's now Osimhen. And a lot of coaches don't like players that will give them problem. Now, Cancelo just finished with his loan deal with Barcelona, and it's to go back to Man City to meet with Pep. He had an issue with Pep. Now he's begging for Barcelona to keep him. Yes, he's begging for Barcelona to keep him, because of course he knows he cannot get anything when he goes back to Manchester City. His career will just go down the drain. You and I know what happened to Ozil in Arsenal. At the point, Arteta wasn't playing him, and was it Arteta, or I stand to be corrected, Emery, and he will sit on the bench. Sometimes he will come to the field dressed, no boots, and carry umbrella, and stay under the sun and just be watching till the game ends. Nobody wants a player who is going to be give them problem, no matter how many they are. And you know how footballers can be, because the coaches get the boots maybe after, like Finidi is off after 2 games. Some coaches don't even last till 2 games. Do you understand? But the players will stay there year in, year out. Teams like Chelsea, teams like Manchester United have changed managers. Why some players have been there from the first manager till the recent one. Do you understand me? And I think there's an undertone to everything that is happening. And until that is fished out, we may not necessarily have been able to solve the problem, even if Finidi goes or not. If you ask me, him throwing in the towel is the best he would have done for himself, because in the first place he wasn't qualified for the job. Because the coach that comes out to tell you formation doesn't matter, tactics, just the boys should just go in and do the job. And that's what tells us about the National League, NPFL. I told you on this show, you cannot get good players from the league. Thank God we got Ismail at the right back, who tried in the last game, and I'm sure when they give him more games he would improve. You have a league where if you go away, you know you are going to lose or get a draw. If you come home, you must win. In the case of Eimba and Rangers, 90 minutes no goal, 98, you added 8 minutes. On the last minute or 2 minutes to the end of the game, you gave out a penalty. And when the clip was being shown, it was not even anything close to a penalty. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the experience this guy has, Finidi George, the local whatever, and you give him the job. Of course it's going to falter. It's going to give you a situation whereby you tell the player, just go, you know, I used to do it in your club, just do it here. And what if those players don't even like him in the first place? I say it again, I do not support what Osimhen has done, because Finidi, take away the coaching part, is a legend of the Nigerian team. You made mention of some players suffering the same fate before. I want to take it back a notch. 2002, Tijani Babangida, Finidi George, Sunday Olise, and some other senior players were kicked out of the Super Eagles before the 2002 World Cup. They played the qualifiers. And did everything possible. And then this same thing that Osimhen is displaying, this same thing that some of these players displayed, level of indiscipline, were displayed by these same players too that period. And when it was time for Coach Onibiri to pick his squad, they were tossed aside. The most senior player in that team was now Austin J.J. Okocha, who captained the team to that tournament. And we had people like John Utaka coming on, Odewenge coming on, and Vincent Yama coming on. So I think they should look really, really deep down into the matter. But first and foremost, I usually say these things. When you're angry, just shut up. When you're angry, shut up, because there are a lot of things, and the media is out there. Your clips are out there. Mr. Sam was making reference to Osimhen being sent out of training. Yes, in Napoli. I don't know what he did, and the coach sent him out, and you could see him grumbling and almost wanting to throw his bib away, but he still found a way to restrain
hold on.
himself
Yeah.
from throwing it away. Do you understand me? They need to find out what the problem was. Is it that they had an issue before? If we check the case of Ben White in the English team, when he was called up to play for the Euro, he turned it down. And after much investigation, they discovered that he had an issue with the assistant coach, and he expected the coach to stand up for him or say something, and the man was mute about it. And he felt, I can't be in a place where I'm not safe. Maybe these players are also in the same environment, and nobody's coming out to talk about it. NFF has come to say they're not going to punish Osimhen, but I know they need to do something about it. If not, somebody else will try the same thing again with a coach who might not necessarily have done anything to them, just for them to show that maybe they are bigger than the coach. And nobody, I repeat, nobody is bigger than the national team.
All right, thank you so much. So, Mr. Raphael, you're putting on Kanu Pillars jersey. So, before we go, I'll take Mr. Samuel on the transfer gist, current transfer gist right now in the European world. I want to find out from you today by 4 p.m. is the semi-finals match at the Presidential Federation Cup, and it's going to be against Abia Warriors and Kanu Pillars. The venue is Lafia City Stadium. Tell us, what is your prediction for?
You know why these games, this Federation Cup is very exciting? Is because first and foremost they are all playing on neutral grounds.
Exactly.
So whatever result you get,
what you just said a few seconds ago does not imply.
Does not imply here. So, and if I'm not mistaken, Abia
Warriors.
Abia Warriors, sorry, have been doing very well recently. They've been getting good results recently. So I want to tilt my. Yes, I might be wearing the Kanu Pillars jersey. I'm sorry, Kanu faithfuls. I'm sorry, but I'm tilting towards Abia Warriors here.
All right. So Mr. Raphael says at the end of today that Abia Warriors will be going to the finals. I want to also know your comments. I want to know your prediction. Just send it via our various social media handle. Now I'll show you on your screen. All right. So Mr. Samuel, just please back to you this moment. We want to talk about. We just finished talking about Osimhen, and we're back to him again. I want to talk about. His transfer gist, where we have Arsenal saying that they won't pay more than 75 million euros for Osimhen, and Chelsea, after they've turned down Osimhen, they've snubbed Osimhen, they are also going out for Lois Openda. He has scored, who has scored 28 goals in the Bundesliga. So just give us a little enlightenment on this transfer gist ongoing right now. Mr. Samuel.
Yes. Well, for me, I think is really a very, very tight one to tell. Understanding the dramas that have also characterized the whole activities around the whole conversation around Osimhen. Definitely, it's clear that Osimhen is not keen to continue at Napoli, especially understanding that they are out of Champions League places. So surely he will be keen to move elsewhere. And definitely, we know that the most talked about destination and even most preferred destination for him is the Premier League. And unfortunately, most of these teams are not ready to cough out that heavy fee. He's not an England or English player, so he's not in the leagues of those the ones Arsenal would break their bank to sign. So I think it's really going to be a very tight one. But I think there's a lot of interest from Arsenal, at least of late. We know Chelsea practically officially out, even though we know this is transfer window, anything could still possibly happen in the course of the process. So but we can't rule anything out. I know he's keen about Premier League, and I know that he is also primed to come and prove himself in the Premier League. We're already seeing Taiwo Awoniyi already taking situation in his own hand and also doing well to really showcase his potentials on the big stage against the big teams. And surely, if not for injury, we know we'll have seen more of him in the Premier League, at least scoring goals. But at least he has also proved he's meant to be in the league. So, but I think for Osimhen, it's really going to be tough to tell. But I think Arsenal are very keen, and we never can tell any other big team. I don't know Newcastle have also some great talented players there in Isak, but surely I think it will be prime for him to move to the Premier League, just like not forgetting how Drogba did make his move. He was also 25 when he left Marseille to England, and the story definitely is it was different, and we know how it went, and him becoming one of the best African players ever, especially in the English Premier League. So I think it's really going to be important that he makes a move, but unfortunately, a lot of factors are conspiring against him. And surely we do hope he pulls through. At least if he comes to Arsenal or any of these top teams in England, it will really be a very, very huge bargain for him. He really will have a very good go in any of these top three teams: Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United.
All right, still on you, Mr. Samuel. Just moving away a bit from Osimhen. Now we're going to Ronaldo, who made his first debut at the Euros in 2004, and in 2024 he's making his sixth appearance at the Euros. What is your what do you think about this old man who still has a young man's vigor in him?
For me, I think it's incredible. It's one I must say is legendary also, and something one never imagined could be achieved. And I think Ronaldo has been an epitome of hard work. He's been one talent that one player that you always imagine that, yeah, this is an all-round success. He's always a leader, and also showed character and dexterity at almost every given stage. Even though emotions could always come, which could happen to the least of all of us, but he always vents when it matters. He's also very strategic. He has very quality management around him, and business-wise, talent-wise, he's been incredibly managed, and he has managed to show that quality of legendary status, and which is something somewhat very, very scarce in history of talented players we've had. Only Messi for me seems to have come close, and I think it's Ronaldo look unrivaled, even though he wasn't as talent blessed like Messi. But I feel, and also possibly blessed with accolades like Messi. But I think he has earned it all. He has seen it all, and it's also such exciting to watch when he was also trying to hug and also kind of pat in the back the young talent that scored the winning goal for Portugal. See the age difference: 21-year-old being hugged by a 39-year-old. You see the age difference, and it's a huge one. Also a great presence that he has provided, and you see him play 90 minutes for me. Still gives me a lot of worry. Like, what is it? This is 39-year-old. Where in 33, 32, 31 our players are retired in Africa, and this, for me, is a story to tell that yes, and when you manage your body well, there's nothing stopping you from achieving the ultimate. For Ronaldo to have played, Ronaldo, who we felt was done and over at the Qatar World Cup, is now playing 90 minutes. And for me, you can't take anything away from him. He was very, very involved. He was really, really very impactful. He made good runs. He's playing from the free kick taking. You know that yes, he wants to give, and I think it's really an incredible personality he has created, and I think he's one that I think many upcoming footballers should really definitely study and emulate in years to come.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. So Ronaldo is a strong personality that a whole lot of persons look up to. Unlike our African counterparts, where we have people lying about their age, but Ronaldo gave his actual age, his real age. He didn't give a football age. That is why he's still performing.
I don't think it's because he gave his football age, like Mr. San said.
Management.
He managed. Exactly. He managed. Ronaldo is one player you would I don't think till now, except maybe as we're talking, he's doing it. I don't think you can find any tattoo on his body.
Yeah.
So he's somebody who has really managed himself well.
Being conscious about that. All right, so Comrade Soko, I want to have you in the next 1 minute. I want you to give us a quick review on the Euros match day 1 and currently ongoing match day 2, and then we also get your review about the first EPL future for this 2024-2025 Premier League season. We have Man City, Chelsea against Man City. Comrade.
Okay, thank you very, very much. The Euros started on a very, very exciting note. And I must say that we had some very, very good matches. Mr. Samuel spoke about Ronaldo's performance in the game against, I think, okay, they won 2-1 against Czech Republic, and he performed very well even at that age. So Ronaldo has been an enigma, and he has been a shining light to upcoming football stars. So the Euro tournament has been really, really exciting so far. We have seen some very, very exciting results. We saw a shocker where Ukraine was defeated by the Romania 3-0. We saw other shockers. Nobody could have thought that Romania was capable of that sort of a result.
Even Belgium match.
So far, even Belgium was stunned by Slovakia. So the Euro has been very, very exciting. So so far, we've seen the traditional teams also winning their matches. We saw England winning by a goal to nil. They also have a match against Denmark today. So I believe that so far the European tournament has been very, very exciting. On the fixtures for the Premier League, I think on the opening day of that Premier League, Manchester City will be playing Chelsea. So it will be the battle for the bad coaches. So that particular game, I'm not going to predict it right now because nobody knows what's going to happen.
Why won't you credit it? No, the reason I personally kept this part for you because I know you're a Chelsea fan, and you are you trying to tell me that after the after the last season you've not gone back to make necessary adjustments ahead of the new season?
No. The reason why I'm not going to predict that is because we have a new coach, and we don't know dynamics of that coach. We don't know what he's going to bring. He has not been able to get a complete team. We have not been able to see a first game with him. You understand? So there's no possible way that we're able to know the direction of Chelsea Football Club right now on the pitch. So it will be very difficult to predict that particular game against a more established City side. So we don't know if we're going to continue performing woefully like we did last season. We don't know if we're going to pick up. So that's the reason why I said I'm going to desist from predicting that particular game. So we are also seeing some pictures Arsenal against Wolves. I think that's going to be a one-way affair. I know Mr. Rapper will be very happy with that prediction. So it's going to be a one-way affair because I see Arsenal really picking up from where they left off, because I don't think that they have done so badly. So I believe that the continuity will be there, and it will even be more so if they are able to get Victor Osimhen. I don't believe that transfer is going to go through just because of the valuation being placed on Osimhen. If that transfer is going to go through, Napoli Football Club has to really reduce their valuation of Victor Osimhen. So that's the reason. Money is the reason why I feel that transfer is not going to go through for Arsenal. So thank you, Mr. Raphael.
All right, thank you, comrade.
Mr. Ebuka.
Thank you, comrade, so much for your analysis. All right, so finally now your last word, Mr. Raphael. Looking at that, Germany has secured their place in the round of 16 at the Euros 2024, and then also Man City against Chelsea. So quickly, we're out.
Man City against Chelsea, like he rightfully said, and I go with what he said. We can't tell for now because as it is, the coach came in when players have moved to their countries to go and play football tournaments. We don't know the ones that will come back injured, the ones that will come back fit, and the spirit with which they will come into that first game. And nobody knows what it's going to be at the moment. So predicting that game would be a very, very dicey one. So we'll just leave it open. Then that of Germany qualifying for the next round, of course, shows you their level of preparedness
as the host.
Yes, as the host, and the results are there to show for it. What everybody's looking out for tonight now is the game against England, Denmark. You and I remember how England knocked out Denmark at the last tournament in the semi-finals, where every one of us cried foul against England, where we saw Sterling dived into the 18 and the penalty was given. And it was as if the they've premeditated the final. So no matter what anybody says, they wanted an England Italy final because they thought England was going to take it home. But it never happened.
It never happened.
So we are all looking to see if Denmark will be getting a revenge tonight.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the show this morning. Viewers, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on this exciting journey. Remember to stay informed, stay engaged, and always keep the passion alive. Thank you to my guest, comrade Abraham Soku, for always having time to join us from all the way from Delta State. Thank you so much. And also our first time guest on the show this morning, Mr. Samuel Amadu, who is the secretary of Swan FCT and also a sport analyst. Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Back to you, Mr. Raphael. You're always here for us. We cannot stop thanking you enough. Thank you for being on the show this morning. All right, viewers, just like as the great Nigerian poet Ben Okiri once said, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So keep dreaming, keep believing, and keep shining. Until next time, goodbye from all of us here. You are not alone.